find it difficult to focus on your customers and even your own employees as you're juggling numerous vendors? Do you have more meetings with vendors than you can count? And do their reports filled with technical jargon make you feel clueless and frustrated? Such is the story of Nathan. Being at a car dealership, he's concerned about his store's digital marketing presence and invests most of his time dealing with vendors to promote his business and gain more sales and market share. Nathan is busy handling reports and reviewing them, not knowing what is happening on the advertising front and about his true ROI. Poor Nathan is worried but can't figure out a solution until he found BZ Consultants Group. BZ Consultants stepped in and was able to take the digital marketing vendor burden off Nathan's plate, giving him peace of mind that the best interest of the dealer was always top of mind. Being an unbiased third party, BZ Consultants always made sure to relay the reports in easy, relatable, and actionable ways so that Nathan could best utilize the data. Now, Nathan can focus on what he really wanted, the customer experience and growth. By being your digital marketing business partner, BZ Consultants Group will remove the hassle of trying to hold your vendors accountable and increase your productivity with the time you will now have armed with true data. Together, we make it possible because your success is our goal.
Welcome into Facts Not Feelings, our Furniss Fast Lane live show with some awesome human beings. And if you haven't had a chance to meet, maybe you're at NADA, you're living on a rock. They were everywhere at NADA. We have Justin and Darin, they're with Check My Driver, which is a motive product. Is that how you guys go about it? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. First off, welcome to the show. How are you both doing today?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. And we had, I mentioned yesterday on the my walk and talk that Fred was on the live stream in NADA. So we're just getting the whole motives, and it is pronounced motives. I did pronounce it wrong the very first time I met you all, but it's motives, and the product is Check My Driver. And I am so excited to get into this today. And I was saying before, I just can't believe that this product didn't already, I thought something like this existed out there, and it really doesn't. So it's been really cool to learn more about all the services you provide. Obviously support what you're doing to dealers and making their life just so much easier. Now, I know it is Friday. If you're out there, drop something in the comment here. Let us know you're there. It could be an emoji. It could be a thumbs up. It could just be, hey, Brooke, I don't, whatever. Maybe you tell me your plans for the weekend. Give me something out there. All right, with that, let's jump in here. Darin, I'm going to first go to you because you're to my right, which is probably left once this decides to flip around here. But what was one of your main takeaways from the show that just dropped?
I obviously give this some thought, and it's based on things that we hear, every single day. Nothing's changed, tremendously, but things we hear every single day. And that is that what we do, like you said, is greatly needed in the industry, right? It's been needed for a really long time. And it's the last kind of piece of, there's probably many pieces of evolution, but one of the last things that you'd think would have already existed, for the digital transformation, the digital evolution, right? But it really truly is a frictionless solution. And that really is probably one of the most important pieces. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. A customer, a guest shows up on the lot, they enter in a couple of pieces of information, some credentials, and then they're done. That's it. And you've validated their insurance. You've addressed multiple pain points. You've addressed some compliance issues. You've clearly addressed the liability issue, the obvious liability issue. And most importantly, I think is that you've increased you've greatly enhanced the customer experience, right? They're getting them out of the dealership that much faster. So
that's always a good thing to do. As much fun as it is to sit at a dealership for 7 hours and then still not have everything done, you've made it just that, like you said, to go back to that frictionless portion has been so much easier for those that are in the dealership not to have to, you've already got enough on your plate as it is. So why it's something else. And that's where you guys are able to take that off your plate. And Justin, I'm coming over to you. Actually, before I come over to you, Corey, I got to know, are you rocking your J's right now? Because I don't know if you saw, but they did go down at the StockX. They went down to like $400. So I'm sorry, because I think you paid a little bit more than that. But I'm curious, the first time you wear them, I got to see photos of that. And we've got Scott. Scott, good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. All right, now, Justin, I'm coming over to you. What was one of your main takeaways?
Yeah, I think one of the main takeaways, and I'm just latched back onto what you said. Can't believe that this hasn't been done before. And the reason it hadn't been done until recently is that it wasn't really possible. to be done. The technology, I mean, the insurance industry is one of those other industries that is a laggard. So if you think about the insurance industry, these insurance companies, they go back to when people first landed, you know, the pilgrims got here. If you think back at some of the insurance companies, and believe it or not, there's insurance companies still running mainframes and really legacy technology, you know. So, but that's now evolved, right? Consumerism and the digitization has driven technology advancements that now make access to that information possible. But what we've done in terms of you know, kind of a takeaway, one of the things I want folks to really know is that just getting the information isn't enough. You have to interpret the information that comes back. Is this person the person on this policy? Is the vehicle that I'm looking at on the policy? Do they have the coverages that are appropriate for the moment or the situation at which I'm verifying that they have insurance? And so getting the information back into the hands of the dealer securely is only one step. We take it all the way and complete the solution by using our AI-driven process that analyzes the insurance information coming back against the situation they're in, whether that's a test drive, it's a finance purchase or a cash purchase or a lease, or they're in service and they're taking out a loan or they're renting a car for that matter, and compares what's required against what they have and just tells you the answer, all good, or here's what's wrong. And that is the real innovation.
You've got Corey saying it, coming here and just saying 100% right, Justin. And I couldn't agree more on this. As we were going through, once again, I go back to like, I didn't know something like this. How did it not exist? But all of the compliance factors of it, I mean, you're taking that pain point away. It's just, it makes Justin, sorry, no, Darin, you and I were joking before. I'm like, there's no like pro con to this. It's just all pro. Like, why would you not go with the product like my driver? Because you're able to take that burden off the dealer. And we were exchanging some fun stories of we got Tom. Hey, Tom. Oh, Justin, Motive is an excellent tool, great guest. But well, thank you, Tom. I try to have great guests.
Hey,
as you've been on the show like 3 times, Tom. So
always good to see Tom.
Oh, we love anytime Tom chimes in, when you have to stop. Okay, what is he saying? It's probably something very important, so we'll want to listen to it.
Yeah, well, we're talking about compliance, right?
That's right up his alley. I'm speaking on the cars role in, I think it's middle of May, end of May, for a dealer process, and I was like, hey, I can't find this article, and he has just been my sounding board to figure out, okay, am I in line with everything here? That is not my area of expertise, but that's something that I definitely am known for, is my compliance portion of what I speak on and what have you. And right. Tom is my sounding board. Like, did I do this right? Did I miss something? Am I missing an article? Because he is the guru when it comes to this. We've got compliance. Yes, very much compliance on this one. Tom is all over it. And for those who don't know Tom as well, like he's got the little octopus. And we were texting back and forth today. I was like, when it comes through on the phone, I was like, oh, it's just like a cute little octopus. This is so nice.
Okay. Yeah, great attire at NADA too, if you recall.
Oh my gosh, yes,
those shirts were banger.
He had the whole suit. There was like a whole octopi, octopus plural.
Yeah, I don't know.
Octopi. I'm not really sure on that one. Yeah. But I want to go back to some of the, like, take this in house of some of the horror stories that we discussed, and once again, why this is so important. I mentioned that I used to work for a company that back in the day, and we're talking a while ago, that would have a driver's license scanner that it never worked. So then you just have people taking photos. They leave the photos of the driver's license now. We talked about, hey, even from Justin, I loved your example of, well, you have homeowner insurance, right? Am I just not going to have homeowners insurance because I don't think anything's going to happen and I'm safe and I don't live next to a volcano? Like nothing's going to happen. Like that one, or I do have auto insurance. Does that mean I'm just going to run around and drive 300 miles an hour? Like, no, you're not going to do that. Yeah. So I love that analogy. I don't know if you want to expand on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we hear back around what's being done is I go back to, why are you asking if they have insurance in the first place, right? If you're going to ask, I have this kind of premise or this little ism. It's just a way to tie people into this, but like you're asking for a reason, and if you're going to ask, you should probably do it properly. And so if you don't call the insurance company, you're not actually knowing whether they have insurance, because the documents, a deck page or an ID card, is just a point in time document. And so you actually have to make a call. Now, if you're going to make a call, you're sitting on the phone, and then people got to go interpret and do things. And so, I sit there and say, well, if now with all the compliance regulations adding additional burden onto the ways in which you would do that, you really just need to have a better way to do it. And so, people are just accustomed to what they're doing, and they also rely on, sometimes they'll say, well, in some cases I have my commercial insurance, whether my garage policy or one of their other insurance programs. And the reality, and this is something we're working through as in kind of former insurance guys, is that's got to be baked into, and it is baked into the price you're paying for those policies or the rate increases that you're going to get when you have loss experience. And so if you do a better job and you better protect the liability equation for the reason you asked for this insurance, it will better protect your business, better protect you from those costs and expenses that are coming onto you, et cetera. And so that's kind of
like a sprinkler system in a commercial building. Do you have one or do you not? Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really a great analogy. And I think it was Tom actually that said to us at NADA, we were talking about garage policies specifically, and how, there's a lot of dealers that are out there that may not be as covered as they think they are. Mm-hmm. Right. And by not validating insurance properly, doing it like Justin said, like my mom said, if you're gonna do something, do it the right way or don't do it at all. Right. But if you're not validating that insurance properly, you are subjecting your garage policy to, a mass liability.
Yeah. And I want to take that a step further here. We were talking as well on the show, and I thought this was a really valid point, is that the number of times that you have insurance, great job, kudos to you, way to go, and then it changes. How often do we actually go and put that insurance card in our car, in our vehicle? I mean, it changes. I remember one time getting into my car, and I laminate it, it goes in my car, and something had changed, and I forgot to take that step. And so I had insurance that was at least a year old. Or even if I had just moved, I gave the example that we were looking to do our roof, and time came to change everything, and like, oh, we don't cover roofs anymore. So they had to go not just a different plant, a completely different provided that to any business, it's like, oh yeah, it looks like it's valid, we're good to go. Well, what if you take that step
never right in my car?
What was that?
Mine's never right in my car. Never. I've always got the wrong card. Always. Or it's a year old.
My wife just went to the dealership the other day for service, and I went to the dealership to actually talk about what we do, to introduce our solution to them. And I was talking with the salesperson. He's very familiar with his current process. The finance manager, the same thing. And then I mentioned to them what happened in service. My wife went in. She actually I changed insurances 3 months ago, and she went in and and they gave her a loaner for the car. And so they had no idea. I'm like, well, what if something would have happened in that moment? They're like, oh, we would probably sue you. I'm like, really? Is that really the answer? Why couldn't you just check? And by the way, as we think about, Darin said that it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. The current methods of the consumer providing the right insurance, going back and forth. So today, going back and forth to your car to get the right one, or calling my agent to get it, or logging into my app, none of those things are less friction than what our process is. The closest thing to it is logging into your app. Pick your app, enter your username and password, pull up your information. But what has to happen now is the dealer needs a record of that I actually checked, and they want to memorialize in case something happens, that I can now actually have a record of what was given. Those apps are getting locked down. You can't take screenshots anymore, right? So now it's becoming harder. So that's not actually an answer. And the way our system works is pick your insurance company, log in, and then it just gets digitally sent from the insurance company right to the dealership. So it's at best the exact same steps as them showing you their phone, except they have now a method to get it to you. And it's way better than the current methods of going back and forth to your car and potentially not even having the right one. And we said this on the show, right? The ID card doesn't actually have coverage information on it. So if you're in a transaction that requires me to confirm that you have certain liability limits or full coverage, now the ID card's not enough. I got to get phone calls. And it's just, there has to be a better way. Well, there is with Check My Driver.
It's funny. It's funny too. I always laugh when we hear that. Well, I can just get my guest to show me their phone, show me that they've got coverage. And my response is every time and I say, well, do you let them print off their own credit report and show you that too? What's the difference?
Yes. And we talked about that as well. Like, so with Credit Karma, so many people think that Credit Karma is 100% the Bible. Well, it gives you an estimate. That was something that I didn't know was a few years back. And it's like, oh, so my credit's XYZ. I get in there and like, no, your credit says like, whoa, it's like way better than I thought it was, which is great. But those little things of like, are you just going to accept Credit Karma when someone asks for, no, you're going to run a credit check. Like you're going to run a credit check 100% of the time. You will run one. Justin, we have a very important comment here from our buddy Brian Ortega. Justin's the best dad ever I felt my family. How well do you know Brian?
Well, I don't know Brian that well, but he knows me very well, I guess.
It's usually Brian or Jordan Cox, one of the two that the show will go off the rails right when they start talking or having some fun comments. Brian does, and he's over Valley High Toyota in California, and some of, if not the best commercials, social media, incredible job. I was just watching one, Brian, the one with the part down the middle of the hair and the gorilla. I think I may have peed a little. I was laughing so hard. That was phenomenal.
He's commenting. Where is it? Oh, I'm trying to get the thing this way.
There you go. Upside down and backwards.
Yeah,
it's all over.
Right
Oh, there we go. I was like so confused. Like, where is he getting this?
Yeah, that's for my son from Father's Day.
Oh, see, then it is number one, Dad. That's fantastic. You know what? I've got. Usually, I'm not in the latitude. It's time horizontal landscape. There's a landscape view, but I do have Josh Adams, he does all my creative. That's what I've got in my background. So you have best dead hour. I have shoes. That's what I have. So nothing very exciting. All right. So Darin, I'm going to go back to you here. Hold up. I'm sure this is Brian. I got to come back here. Jeff, a second. Wait a second. Brian and Jordan derail the show. I felt my Jeff, you're another one that likes to derail the show. And for those that don't know, Jeff, it's his birthday every single day. So anytime that our buddy Jeff is on here, we have to say happy birthday because we're all just blessed to be in his presence. And hello to you as well. Good to see you here. All right. So Darin, come back to you. What was another one of your takeaways from our awesome episode that dropped yesterday?
Like I said, and I was actually had a list of things that I was going to talk to you guys about, but that garage policy thing was interesting to me. We covered that, right? Most people think that they're covered, they're not. But the reason that people have been historically exposed, right? The reason this problem has sort of festered is that checking insurance is a pain, and so we're addressing that head on. I covered the frictionless thing. We talked about, liability, obviously, but we talked about, massive increase to the guest experience, the customer experience.
I would just add to that, Darin. I think for me, one of the takeaways is that the opportunity exists to get in front of this completely, before guests even arrive, right? As folks really look to this digitization, and you talk about like when if I want to really know my customer, there's so much data available out there to really know who's coming in before they even get in, that you can bring these kinds of capabilities all the way to the top of the funnel. Just like a soft credit pull, you can get an idea of what their insurance situation is so that you can start guiding them and informing them to what they might need or what they might need to do before they even arrive, or at least give them the opportunity to reduce the friction in the dealership by taking care of things in their own home, which people are accustomed to, especially with the cohort of the younger generations. They just have these expectations that this stuff just happens that way. Wait, you got to call the insurance, like you just don't have that information, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and further to extend on that, and back to my customer experience comment. Once we've done this, if a guest shows up for a test drive and you know nothing about them, let's just say, people just show up on the car lot and they're like, ooh, I want to go drive a car. When we pull that information down, we can literally be the tip of the spear in gathering the first piece of information about that guest or potential client, and make that available to the dealer CRM, right? That's one point. The second point is that let's assume that they do take a test drive. And we have validated their insurance with Check My Driver. And they ultimately buy the car, they take delivery, all that kind of stuff. They show up, a month later for an oil change and they need a courtesy vehicle. there is no need to ask them to validate their insurance again. If we have that information, the dealer has it, you can run that check. Just let them know before they show up via an email. Hey, we know you're going to come in today. We're going to check your insurance and have that stuff already completed and hand you the keys when you show up. No big deal. Easy.
And to that point, we had talked about, and this is something that I sometimes I think people don't think about it. And for those that are watching right now, we've got the wonderful, it's like way below me, and that's below Justin here. We've got the check my driver URL here. But one thing in particular is that you can feel that, hey, we're good to go with this. Everything's fine. We have a digital system. I will tell you, I have been in dealerships way too much. And I won't say way too much, but a lot of dealerships. And yet they may feel that way. And yet you then printed out the driver's license. Like, well, then why did you just print it out? Like, if you're going to go digital, go all digital.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we're talking about, security of the security portion of it as well. But I just want to give this one example of that. This is back, it was a while ago. But I know I said this in the show, but I just want to reiterate because I feel that it bears repeating, is that there was a dealership group and they get a phone call. Now, that person was coming in to buy a vehicle. We'll call her Jane Smith. Jane Smith was coming in to buy a vehicle. Now, they checked everything. Like all she was doing is picking up the vehicle. They get a call from the FBI saying, so Jane Smith has been on a rampage here. She's providing false information. It's an identity theft, blah, blah, blah. And FBI were all undercover. They tackled her. I mean, it was a whole scene. And I look at that and say, well, they verified the insurance, didn't they? They verified the person was correct, or we thought they did. And so even this is where like this comes into play so much. It's like, okay, well, how is this real world example? So I always like to give those examples. And I think we talked about it a little bit. If you want to take that.
We did. Yeah, it's a great topic to talk about. And it's synthetic fraud really, right, too, right? And how dealers are often taken advantage of via synthetic fraud. Justin can probably explain a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'll hit on that. Yeah, but basically the combination of the driver's license, like that's where a lot of focus is going right now on the synthetic fraud. But the moment of the driver's license and the insurance are usually pretty well paired together. And what we add is an additional layer, because for someone to build up that profile, they also would have to build up an insurance profile, right? So from an insurance standpoint, insurance companies ask, well, who was your prior carrier? So now you got to have insurance before. There's just a whole bunch of things. They run all kinds of third-party checks themselves, including an actual MVR and clue report looking for accident history and other things like that. And so there's a lot that goes into actually getting an auto policy, that when you sit there and say, not only do we check the driver's license, but we check the insurance. And the way that we check the insurance is through a consumer consent process. A fake license with a fake profile plus has a fake insurance, not just the document, but actually can then go log into that said profile and all the information match. It further reduces the likelihood of synthetic fraud. And so in those cases, and we've heard a couple of them ourselves, where they've gone all the way through, even with the bank, and they've been funded, right? And the bank didn't catch because they're just looking at the deck page. And what happens, and we've been talking to a bunch of subprime lenders, quite frankly, and the way they monitor insurance is through the additional interest line, which has its own set of flaws on the finance side of the auto industry and the lease side, where they're being added as a lien holder, and they get this information via paper documents in the mail. People got to open documents.
It's 2 weeks old. Late.
Right? Got to open the documents. There's a lot of different notifications. It's called clutter. Humans are getting them. If they're OCRing, scanning them, and they're building all this stuff, it's just, and then by the time I get back to the customer, the elapsed time of this process just leaves there's gaping holes. By creating this digital transaction, it's not only simple, safe, and secure, it's instant and real time.
And I do want to expand on that. I got to bring up Micah's comment here. Micah, buddy, it's been a minute. We need to connect up. Hope you're doing awesome. But he goes, I met this team at NADA. Great crew. Loved meeting them. And so I don't know if you remember Micah. Micah's got.
Okay.
He's kind of unforgettable. So Micah, I love how I just like try to explain you if you're watching right now. I went straight to muscles and then straight to long hair. That is Micah. Great human being there.
we met quite a few of the dealer built crew, and it was fantastic talking with those guys, and a lot of good plans there.
They're awesome. And so I recently, and I want to apologize. Hold up, Micah. I see you, buddy. Like the picture you posted I can't remember. It was a while, probably like a couple weeks ago, and you're at the gym. I was like, really, your muscles are the size of my body. Like, this is crazy right now. But going back on track here for a hot second is I've been selling a bunch of stuff on Marketplace. Now, I have never used Marketplace prior to this. I've never used it. I've never sold on it, never bought on it. And we're trying to move a bunch of stuff here. So I put it on there, and it's just crazy, the scammers that come to you that look legitimate. And the one in particular that I found, it's an interesting concept here, is that they'll tell you to text you. Well, I had not been on Marketplace. So I was like, okay. Then they're asking for a 6-digit code. And I can see like Google verification coming through. I'm like, okay, I get it if I wasn't tech savvy, but do you really think I'm going to give you a Google authentic? So I go and Google this, and it's a massive scam right now that they're taking that and then taking your phone number and, taking a Google Voice, and you've lost it. I mean, so there's so much fraud out there, so much. So if you can take like one step to combat that, and this is a massive one, and let's be honest, we don't want to be calling insurance companies. Like, we don't want to be doing these things that are heavy lifting. They're just mundane, and I don't want to do them anyways. They take them off the plate for you. Micah, I see you, buddy. Yes, it has been, we need to sync up. I think you're coming to Chicago sometime, so that'd be nice. If not, maybe DMSC, love to see you there. And Mark, oh, me too, Micah, smart crew with a great solution for dealer. Mark, very good to see you. I don't remember if I responded to your text message about the fish concert, but if I didn't, I'm being a horrible friend. So I'd love you.
Well, I was there. That's something that I actually did do 2 weeks ago.
No,
and like,
Mark was there.
And like Drew Carey says, it was mind altering. It was face melting. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Oh.
That place is it's an amazing.
That's the Dome. Was that at
the Sphere? The Sphere. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I can't wait to go back. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
I got to know, was that the first time you'd seen something there?
Yes.
Man, it's on the bucket list here. Brian, Micah is the modern day Samson. Yes, he is. Okay, so fish is your first one. Justin, have you been to the Sphere and seen anything there?
I've seen it from the outside and all the cool things. We were at that the party at your suite overlooking the Dome, and that was the first time I ever saw it. And they had it lit up like I think Earth or something. It was crazy. I have a video on my phone. I gotta post it online. It was unbelievable. It was mesmerizing. It was crazy.
And the thing is, if it's like that amazing outside, the one I liked was the smiley face, where it's like winking at you. It's like looking around. You saw that. That one made me laugh. But the inside, and I personally have not seen anything there. Like, it's on the list. I'll get there. There's even the NADA. I was like, okay, maybe I can swing this. And there was a few things going on at NADA.
You had the best view in Las Vegas Strip of that thing from your suite.
Yeah, it was good.
It was pretty nice. I was like, once we worked out the kinks of like, okay, the camera is actually overheating right now. The camera overheated. We had the mics overheat. We had everything overheat. So we had to switch everything around. Then we were good to go. But it took a minute to figure out that apparently your products can overheat. So there you go. It was a lot of fun. Justin, have we missed anything? I know, Darin, you were just talking on something. Justin, have you covered all your takeaways? Anything else you want to add?
I mean, I think those are really the key takeaways. I just would say that, if there's, I guess really maybe a call to action to folks. If you're thinking about this process, right, and how manual it is today or what you do today, I say think about where in the life cycle of your dealership or wherever you may sit within the auto industry. Because as I mentioned before, like, it's not just in the dealership. There's rentals, there's tangential things, there's your finance partners. It's doing them a service. Think about who benefits from this. It's not just the consumers. You benefit, reducing your risk. You're also reducing risk of the PII data to consumers, but you're also helping your lenders, right? You want a better relationship with your lenders? Well, do a better job. It's part of the underwriting process, ultimately, to make sure that you have insurance. And so, we're working with them as well. That's part of our go-to-market strategy, is to work directly with these lenders. And as they take to this, they're going to expect that this information have quality. And if they're able to know, right, they're going to expect that And if they're able to monitor, they're going to expect that, what the information they got from you is accurate. So I would just say, think about where it exists. And challenge us in the business. If it's an area that we haven't brought up and you've got some new use cases, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. And the demonstration, the engagement process with us is exceptionally smooth and easy, really quick. We can do a demo in, a matter of 15 minutes.
Yeah, and if for anyone out there, actually, so that's a good point. You can actually go right to www.motives.com and you can hit sign up, and you can actually sign yourself up and go get a credit and go verify and try your own, or try a customer's for your own. And if you like it, you want to talk more about it, and you want to really think about how it might roll out within your business, or you want to bring it to your boss if you're not the decision maker, go check it out, see what it's like, so and then reach out to us.
And Stephen, I was waiting for you to jump into the show at this point, because I was like, this is right up your alley. Our great automotive retail industry dealers don't need one more disconnected thing to do. They need solution partners to make what they currently do easier and more effective. Bravo to everyone contributing to that mission. And Stephen, if you're unaware of Stephen, I'm going to start gushing about you, Stephen. He's a very good friend of mine, but also has a company called Your Strategic DX. And I have to always be very careful. I'm like, strategic is always a hard word for me for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. And that's exactly like they are connecting all those disconnected parts, use his terminology. And so having something like Motives to do the same, where, hey, you can go and have this disjointed experience where we're trying to call this person and quote this person. And I don't know if it's real or not. So maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let's just roll with it. Versus, hey, we're going to 100% verify that this is accurate, that this person is who they say they are, that their insurance is up to date, that it is actually their insurance, and it's not someone just posing as Brooke. It actually is their insurance.
Yep.
Once again, why would you not go with this?
Yeah, it handles everything. It does, and it's so easy. It's
I would come back to Steve's question, or latch onto it kind of even from another perspective, just like one more rev on that thought process, is that we have a open API that called the Check My API that you can connect to if you're a dealer management system, a CRM, a fleet or loaner system, or any other system, or you have one of those systems. You should be talking with your providers about this capability and making sure that they are thinking about incorporating things, the Check My Driver solution right into that process, so that it now gets integrated or kicked off or orchestrated right from within their workflow, right within those moments, and that the data is passed back and forth. We do stand alone and are able to stand up, and you could start using it today, but it also can be tightly integrated right into those processes. And we're working with a number of different DMS providers and CRM providers right now.
And I'm going to go back to Darin. You mentioned a comment about the demo portion of it. I was literally having a conversation with this about 24 hours ago, that a company had sent over 100-page deck. And I go, I'm sorry, like, unless I've got 7 hours on my hand to like go through this, no one's going to sit through that. Like, no, you're going to get the second page. And you're like, okay, I've tuned out, I'm done. So the fact is 15 minutes, that's just something like such a pet peeve of mine when I'll sit on demos and they're, a half hour I'm okay with, but it goes into an hour, 90 minutes. I'm like, if you can't get to the point in 60 seconds and tell me what your company does, we got a problem here, because you don't know what the company does. So thank you for that point of like, hey, it's only going to be 15 minutes. It makes a big, big difference on that. And then real quickly, Joshua, I was getting a little worried, Joshua. I hadn't seen your name in here, so it's good to see you. Welcome into the show. Better late than never. So back to that just really quick. I just want to thank you guys for that, because that's a big one for me. Just bombarding with too much, like, there's so much data out there. There's so much information.
Yeah,
Simplify this shit.
Yeah, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. We can show people how the solution works. There's a lot of magic goes on behind the scenes. Like, to your point, we are consuming that deck page. We're reading it all, with our adequacy engine. But we're literally facilitating that insurance check process in moments.
I love it. So I'm curious, anyone on the stream right now, whether you're listening or maybe you are watching, it can be both. Maybe you got us on the background here. Are you currently using Check My Drive? I'm just curious out there to see if anyone is. If you're at this point, you're like, Brooke, it's been 35 minutes in, we've tuned out. That's possible as well. I'm just curious if you're using that, or if maybe you're using a product that you feel is the same. If you have any questions for them, like, hey, I'm using XYZ product, does it do the same things? Throw it in the chat here. Brian is saying, put Joshua Taylor's name on the board. Yes, chalk it up there, Brian. Chalk it up there. He is there. And why we wait for some people to respond here to see if I know that you guys started out. How long ago did you guys start this whole?
Well, we and actually in auto we just launched it NADA. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. We also work on the property side as well. So when you go rent an apartment, as an example, right, you still got to have insurance liability insurance when you move in. So same concept. But yeah, our auto start was actually at the beginning of the year at the NADA show.
It's amazing how many different products launched at NADA. It was one of my friends, Jimmy Douglas, has a company. I always call it, I was like, Spark, no, it's Plug. I was like, Spark, nope, that's a drink. So it's not Spark Plug, it's Plug. It's a more or less, I'll say like think of like not a Carbon, I just lost my train, like a Auto Trader, but it's got for all electric vehicles. So it's been really cool to see how, like, since he launched, he used to be a Tesla house. He launched at NADA. Well, a lot of people did this here. Brian is going to say, I'm going to show my GSM. Fantastic, Brian. I know I put this up here. I'm going to put it up here again just to get in touch with either Darin or with Justin here. We've got Darin right here. You've got his. You just go to LinkedIn. You're going to see him there. Is there any other way, Darin, they can get in touch with you? And then Justin, I'm going to come to you next.
Absolutely. Well, just go to Motives. You can go to checkmydriver.ai. You can go to motives.com. You can go to LinkedIn and check either one of Justin's or my profile and hit us up directly there. Either way.
Cool.
Brian, thank you. Seriously, that would be awesome. We look forward to connecting with you guys.
Yeah, and Justin, other than LinkedIn, or I mean, let's go with what's the best way that people can get in touch with you. Yeah,
I think go into our website, and I'm good with my email too. My first initial last name, jsilver@motives.com. That's always an easy peasy way. Our contact information also in the contact page. All our LinkedIn profiles are there, and the ability to email us. So there's a million different ways to get in touch with us. Use any, and we are super responsive. So we'll get right back with you.
And there you go. We should be good to go on that one. Like I said, if you'll once you get introduced to Brian, your life will never be the same. Like, let's be honest, we all get a lot of laughs at how he does things, and he's just a very smart individual, and our industry is incredibly lucky to have him. And like I said, they're out of Valley High Toyota. Brian, I gush about you all the time, so you do just keep up the amazing work. All right, I think we've covered everything. Is there anything else that I've missed or that we've missed that you want to tell the audience?
No, I think that's it. I think we covered it. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. We can show you how to use it in 15 minutes, and you're off to the races.
Justin, any parting thoughts, my friend?
I just want to say again that we're super appreciative, Brooke, for having met you. We were new at NADA, and you were amazing to meet and to connect us up with everyone else. It's been really a humbling experience to come to something so big as NADA, and then our world seems so small so quick with all these folks that are here in the show, and really you were part of the catalyst that helped that go. So I just want to say, to anyone who hasn't met Brooke, it's been really profound and impact for us.
That's there's a universe of people that seem to be around you that are entangled with us, ironically enough, so it's really great. It's fantastic.
I'm so grateful. Seriously, it's the whole reason I started the show. I turned the camera, didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, hey, if I can just help one person. And it's been really cool just to see that networking happen. And like, if it wasn't for the show, I probably would have never met you. I mean, that's how, yes, I know some of our mutual friends as well, but I think it really took that show. And so I'm just so grateful that it does help people, that the show does move the industry forward, and little things like that. And it just makes for me, to your point, it's very humbling when you hear these things. You're like, oh man, I'm just trying to help people. So hopefully it's working. So thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you, obviously getting to know more about the product. It is a much needed in our industry. If you're looking for a house or anything like that, you're going to need to be checking that stuff. So what's the second biggest purchase is your vehicle. So probably want to have that under control as well.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this today. And Justin and Darin, thank you for a great product, but just for who you are and everything that you're doing right now and making this industry better. And you all know the drill at this point. Find a way to serve today. Find a way just to be the joy in someone's life and make their life just a little bit easier. It could be opening a car door. It could be a kind smile. We got Cinco de Mayo around the corner. So maybe you're just going to pick up a tab for a couple margaritas, something like that. But do something just to make someone's life a little bit better. And with that, everyone, we will see everybody next week.